Hi everyone, it's Darren. Welcome. So, if you saw my video a while ago about VLOOKUP, you'll know I called it one of the most powerful functions in Excel, and it is. There's no question about that. And you'll may also remember I said some things about XLOOKUP and why I don't actually use XLOOKUP, even though XLOOKUP is arguably more powerful. And let's be fair, it is more powerful. It is somewhat easier to use. Uh, so today we're going to talk about XLOOKUP. And then after I show you how to use it, we're going to talk a little bit about why I don't use it. And then we're going to have a video coming up a little later comparing VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP and how to get sort of that XLOOKUP functionality without the downsides of XLOOKUP. Now, to be clear, eventually the downsides of XLOOKUP will go away, but today we still have those. So today we can't really get away with it just yet. So what I have here is I have customer data. I have a customer data worksheet. First name, last name, city, state, or excuse me, first name, last name, street, address, city, state, zip code, customer number. And over here, I have a list of customer numbers. So what I want to get is I'd like to get uh, the all the corresponding information for that customer number using XLOOKUP. So here we go. So it's just equals XLOOKUP. And as always, you can use these tool tips that pop up on Excel. So lookup value, what is lookup value? Well, in this case, lookup value is A1, right? Okay. And now lookup array. This is where it gets a little different from, if you're familiar with VLOOKUP, this is where it's different. So lookup array here is where the corresponding value is. This can be numbers, it can be text, it doesn't matter. So this is our customer number. So then we have return array, right? Return array is where your data comes from. So I'm just going to pick first name here. And you see the other parameters there are in square brackets. That means they're optional. Let's just skip those for now. And Henry. So customer number 9 is Henry. Is customer number 9 Henry? Yep, customer number 9 is Henry. Okay. And this is kind of what you do in VLOOKUP. You'd actually stick a comma false at the end. Uh, and this works great. Okay. What more can you do? So far, this looks identical to VLOOKUP, and it is, but you can do a little bit more with it. So remember I said I wanted all of these columns. So I wanted columns A through F for my results. So if I come over here, instead of A to A, what if I do A to F? Now I get all of those columns, and it just populates for me automatically. Okay, so that's obviously that's a big advantage that I don't have to type all those in by hand, and I can copy that down, and it gets everything. Okay, so what are these other values on here? Well, let's take a look at them. So we've already seen one advantage, and with VLOOKUP, I would have had to actually copy the formula over. So what are these other values here? Well, we have if not found. If you saw my VLOOKUP video, you know, in fact, let me just show you here. I'm going to pick customer 115, and I get NA. That's not what I want. Okay, so if I do the next parameter, if not found, you can put a number, you can put text, whatever, you can put a cell reference, whatever you want here. Customer not found. So with VLOOKUP, you would have had to take your whole VLOOKUP function, put it inside of an if NA to get this result. Here, you've got that automatically. Okay. If you remember VLOOKUP, you had another parameter that you'd usually put false. Here you actually have 4 different options available to you. So we have uh, match mode here. Match mode, oh, sorry, let's come up here. There we go. Match mode. And you hit comma, and you have four options. You have exact match. Exact match is the same as using false in VLOOKUP. It that 115 over an A, it has to match exactly. If doesn't matter if you have 114, if you have 135, if you don't have exact match, it doesn't work. Uh, you have exact match or next smaller item, exact match or next larger item, or wildcard match. Well, let's see what we can do here. Let's say if we do exact match or next smaller item, -1. And now I picked 115, found Everly here. Everly is really number 100. That's the next smaller item. If we picked uh, next larger item for 1, it's not found because there's no item bigger than 115. Uh, what if we picked, sorry, what if we picked wildcard match? Wildcard match lets you then search with wildcards. Not so useful for numbers, but if you have text, if you don't know if yeah, it's looking for John or Jonathan, so you just do JOHN star for a wildcard, and that'll give you a wildcard match. Really useful to be able to do, and something that's not really supported well elsewhere. The thing you don't have that you had in VLOOKUP was approximate match, but Excel never really explained exactly how approximate match worked. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick with or next smaller because that way all my data works. Nope, it's or next smaller. Okay, so what's this other parameter? Because there's one more parameter on here. Stay up in the same thing here. Um, your other parameter is match mode. Um, so your lists for the first two, your lists do not have to be sorted. Uh, search first to last is your default. Exact match is also your default, by the way. Uh, so search top to bottom. That's your default, or you can type it as a 1. Doesn't matter. Let's say that you're searching for name and you're looking for Smith, and you have 500 Smiths. First to last, it'll find the first Smith. Last to first, it finds the first Smith. Uh, those search the way that humans would search. You start at the top of the list and you go down one by one until you find it, and the first one that hits. Uh, what are these two binary searches? Okay, binary searches. First, for both of them, you have to sort the lookup array data in order, and it can be ascending order or descending order. That that is determined by whether you pick 2 or -2 here for the search option. If you pick ascending order, then it has to just be in ascending order, and we'll say everything's ascending just for this example. Um, let's say that we pick binary search ascending order here, and let's look at number 45. Okay, so we're looking for number 45, so we come over here, and what we do to find number 45 is we know that there's 100, so we go to number 50, and we see the 50th record, and we see, okay, the 50th record says the customer number is 50. Is 45 equal to 50? No. Larger or smaller? Smaller. Okay, so we're going to divide that by 2. So row 50, we're going to divide by 2, takes us to row 25. Okay, it's halfway between. It's a binary, divided by 2. So row 25, customer number is 25. Is 25 what we're looking for? No. 45 is bigger than 25, right? Okay, so we go halfway between 25 and 50. That's going to be, what, 37. So we go to row 37. And these just happen to match in this case. Is row 37 what we're looking is 30? Nope, that's customer 37. Okay. Is customer number is 45 greater or less than 37? It's greater than. Okay, so we had 37. The next closer one we had here was 50. That's takes us up to 43, right? So we go to row 43. Is 47, is row 43 equal to number 47? No. Okay, greater or less than? Okay, it's greater than. Between 43 and 50, we're gonna land at, actually, I think we're gonna hit 46. Is 46 greater or less? Okay, then we're gonna land at 48, then we're gonna land at 47, and we're gonna find it. Um, to you and I, this is confusing. To a computer, this makes a lot of sense. If you're looking at a couple hundred records, it honestly makes no difference. If you're looking at tens of thousands of records, the binary search is going to be a lot faster. So that's the only time you'd really want to use it. You never have to use it. If you do use it, make sure that the lookup array that you're going into, make sure that's sorted. And it can be ascending or descending. Just reference it accordingly over here in this formula here. Uh, so if it's ascending, make sure you pick ascending. So that's what XLOOKUP can do. Those are the parameters for it. There's one weird little parameter uh, that's another option, um, and that is this first value here, your lookup value. If you leave that blank, okay. So Microsoft says that this is a required parameter that you can leave blank, which sort of makes it sound like it's a optional parameter to me. If you leave it blank, it'll look for the first instance of a blank value in your lookup array. Okay, so if I've skimmed by it kind of quick, go check out the VLOOKUP video if you want to kind of get an idea of what this does in a little more detail. I just don't want to go through the same thing again because I know a lot of you are already using VLOOKUP. Uh, So there are times when you shouldn't use it. And before I go into that, let me just say if you're learning anything from the video, if you're enjoying, if you want to see more, please do hit like and subscribe and notify. Also, if you have questions, comments, put them down in the comments field. I have a Patreon page at patreon.com/data analysis excellence as well. A few bucks a month there. Really appreciated. It really helped the channel out. Okay, so why don't I use it? It's the function's great. It's very powerful. It's objectively lots of benefits over VLOOKUP, and I still don't use it. And the reason I don't use it is that right now, as I'm recording this, you're still pretty much limited to only being able to use this on Excel 365. If you have a standalone version of Excel, XLOOKUP's not supported. If you use OpenOffice, and I use OpenOffice on my computer at home, it's not supported. If you're using any of the web-based ones, not supported. You can only use it if you're using Office 365. And further, if you're sharing the spreadsheet to anybody else, they have to have Office 365. And anybody they share it to has to have Office 365. If this goes to anybody that does not have Office 365, they're going to get an error and they're not going to be able to use the data. And that's the reason that I don't use it. Uh, once I expect that'll eventually work its way through the system. I expect that XLOOKUP will get integrated into other spreadsheets in time. It's not there yet. And until it is, I really don't want to use this because when I send it to people, it's going to be useless to them. And the reason for working with data is to have something you can actually use. Now, if you're using this and you're the only one who's ever going to look at the data and you have Office 365, go ahead and use it. That's fine. If you're sharing it around your office, everyone in your office has Office 365, that's okay. If you're sending it to a client, I wouldn't use this. I would definitely stick with VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP as needed. HLOOKUP is horizontal lookup. With VLOOKUP, your data is oriented this way. With HLOOKUP, your data is oriented that way. Everything else is the same. It just turns stuff. So basically the same function. Most people end up with VLOOKUP because of the way data ends up in the system. If you're sending this to yourself at home and you have an old copy of Excel at home, you can't use XLOOKUP. So that's when you can't use it, when you probably shouldn't use it. Um, Otherwise, like I said, it's a great function. It is objectively more powerful and does have some features not available in VLOOKUP. Not so many though, and we're gonna get to those in a future video comparing VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. So, again, if you learned anything, please hit like and subscribe. Any questions, comments, put them down in the comments field. Uh, at the bottom here, I have links to the VLOOKUP, and also I'll have links to those text parsing videos down in the description as well. And thanks for stopping in, and I look forward to seeing you here for the next one.